listening to the Almost Legal Podcast with Josh Ankasine.
Hey guys, welcome to the Almost Legal Podcast. This is your host, Josh Ankasine. I'm here with Pete Stanford. I'm just kidding. Jared Simmons.
Got on. What's up, dude?
Not much, man.
What's up, dude?
It's Saturday. We're watching the Alabama-Tennessee game.
Roll time. Rolling. We're rolling right now. We need to get downfield. We got to answer here.
By we, you're
we're rolling with the tide.
You're rolling with the tide?
Absolutely. I got too much money on this.
What's the chances old Butch pulls this upset?
If I'm looking at the record of Alabama, Tennessee, then a 0% chance. And this poor guy, he needs to win one. He needs to win one big game for Tennessee if he's going to stay the coach. I don't like to see coaches get fired. I don't think anybody with a conscience really likes to see coaches get fired. But I love it. He's got to pull. Dude, you're a psycho.
I love it.
He needs to pull something around though.
I love to ruin families.
I love to see it. This is going to ruin Butch's marriage. I got to see this.
I think there's a higher than a 0% chance
that he pulls an upset.
No, that they beat Alabama. There's a higher than a 0% chance I get struck by lightning.
Well, what did Vegas say? Did you see what the lines were this week? I missed it totally. I didn't even look.
I don't know either. What are you looking at?
I just look at the score on the score app.
Where?
Yeah, so I think it was probably something like 27 points.
Maybe. I think maybe 14 because they know it's a rivalry. They're a little iffy about rising them on the rivalries, even though it's Tennessee. But hey, what do you think about the Vegas shooting? Like everything about it.
Yeah, so I saw the videos of people responding to the shooting and how they were saying that there were apparently multiple shooters heard.
There's on interviews YouTube and said that.
Yeah, people were describing gunfire from all locations, and I think I've seen like one thing where there was a screenshot from a police body cam of a piece of paper with a pen sitting on a stool, and people were thinking it was like a letter or a note that he wrote.
A woman left a note. A woman about. There was an interview. This isn't coming from me. There's an interview from someone that was there. That was towards the front. Maybe. I don't remember. That's where she was standing. That about 20 to 30, 40 minutes before the shooting, a woman was like being rude and was trying to bust up to the front and was saying, y'all are all going to die tonight. And then security took her away.
What?
She said that. About
Where
40
did you see
that? I don't know. It was an interview I saw.
Okay.
Some news interview.
That's scary.
Right? But no one did investigations. That's the reason I brought it up. It's bothering me. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist on anything that happened, but like, how do we know what happened? They're still, quote unquote, investigating Trump and Hillary Clinton. How long has that been? They closed a mass shooting in 8 to 10 hours. Oh, closed case. We got him. That was all. He was the only one involved. Yeah,
we've had Mueller up at, Special Investigator Mueller up in the White House for the past 11 months. He's the one that always
pushes the buttons of those people. Is that the guy? Blonde-haired dude?
No. He's an older guy.
That's Gowdy or whatever.
Yeah, you're thinking about, he's the congressman.
Okay, that's who I was thinking. I don't know who Mueller is.
Or a senator, sorry. Gowdy.
No, it just bothers me, man. And of course, they come in and use that as a platform to push, gun rights and gun legislation. Did I say that right?
Gun legislation.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It seems kind of, to me, it always seems so expletive, and I think it's really gross when when any politician starts to try to push an agenda in the wake of a tragedy like
Standing on their, using their graves as a...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that completely repulsive, and I think the Democrats in the Congress and the Senate they really bid it on this one because they jumped on it almost too soon, and then Hillary Clinton herself tweeted out some just very disgraceful things, and
saying what?
She said something to the effect of like, if we would have just banned guns already, this would have never happened, and it's all the NRA's fault and all this kind of stuff, like just going crazy.
You say that, but when you dig into it, the more if you look at it in a non-biased, realistic way, because everyone is so passionate about their political views, they don't look things rationally. So, like, never been arrested, no signs of mental illness.
Other than his prescriptions.
Other than his prescription. Was he on prescription?
Yeah.
For what?
From what I understand, he wasn't. He was kind of a head case.
Well, did he technically have a mental disorder?
No, I think it's like one of those undiagnosed generalized anxiety kind of things. Yeah.
Okay. There's no way you can prevent that. And taking a gun from somebody isn't going to prevent anything.
Right.
So it's just, it comes to a point that's the way they think. You blame, when drunk drivers kill people, which is a vast, huge numbers more than shootings, you don't blame the car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He was driving drunk. He's the one that messed up. That's what killed the person, not the car. That's why I view guns. You're not going to take the guns. It's illegal to have automatic weapons, and now they're saying it was bump stocks.
Right. So just get rid of bump stocks then.
That being said, I'm kind of pissed. I almost bought a bump stock back in the day.
How do they work? It's on the actual handle of the gun, right?
The handle and the stock is all in one.
Okay.
And it uses the gun's recoil when it fires and it goes back and forth, the whole stock kind of comes with it. So when it pumps back, it pulls the trigger again. So it's like bah, 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 like an automatic weapon.
Oh, okay.
It's not as reliable and consistent as
right, because if it's jumping around in your hands like that, I mean, you can't aim it for garbage, right? I mean, like, how do you?
I saw this one guy making this video. He was proposing in a point to where it was like almost like a Lee Harvey Oswald. He was just a patsy. There's no way. He was out of shape. I forgot, was he 64 years old?
Yeah.
Out of shape, 64-year-old, no training, and he planned it to strategically plan this awesome plan and was like a marksman. I'm like, it doesn't really take. He was shooting to a crowd of hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
I don't care how bad your aim is. You're shooting an automatic or
right, just shooting the general area.
Yeah, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Which is what that bump stock is terrible. You know, as terrible as a device that it is, it wouldn't. You know, it would probably just spread. He was just hitting all over the place, right? I'm sure he was. There's no way he was strategically aiming with that thing.
I don't know. He did. He planned that.
Yeah.
Did you hear all the stuff he did? He had the cameras in That's insane.
Cameras in the hallway. He had like a bunch of monitors set up. He had like 40 something weapons on him. And he was just bringing in a bag a day or so through the hotel, just walking through the lobby with bags of guns.
His dad was a bank robber.
Yep. So he has, so they're saying that there's probably a strain of mental illness in the family. And that he was, I mean, obviously like father, like son, not always, but in this case, it seems so, that he, picked up whatever his father was and carried it with him his whole life.
More of a competition type deal? He wasn't happy, so he was like, I want to outdo.
Nah, dude, who knows? I mean, did they ever even actually release a motive ever?
No.
It was, I mean, the case, I don't see anybody really reporting on it all that much on the news. Granted, I haven't really watched the news since that event happened. I just got sick of watching the news after like the third day of the event being reported on. What
do you think about ISIS claiming it?
They claim everything.
But they don't, though. They don't claim everything.
Typically they do, though. It's like, oh, Americans died.
True.
We claim it. Yep,
they
that
claim
was us.
The big ones.
Like, this guy has no ties to ISIS whatsoever. And they're like, oh, yeah, we did it. So they claim everything. They're disingenuous. They're not.
Well, now that ISIS has been, what's that city? They lost that city.
Touchdown, Jalen. Oh, I guess stop. Go ahead.
That city they lost their hub or whatever. They're not more of a centralized. It's more of an ideological. Yes. So now they're trying to basically just put out propaganda and media and wanting you to like revolt in wherever you're at.
Right. That's the reason why they're so
Dangerous.
So I can't remember what I was watching. I want to say I was watching some kind of video of a reporter. He had dissected a video of ISIS and just kind of, step for step, walked through all of them, gotten like graphic designers and content creators and people like that to, critique their video editing skills.
It's flawless.
Yeah, I mean they crank out some very visually impressive and
kind of like Steven Spielberg of propaganda videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing, and that's what's radicalizing these people because it's such a I guess I would say the picture that they paint is so romantic of what their life is doing and what they're wanting to inflict upon the millions, right?
Yeah.
So they romanticize it and they drag people out to their places and it works because there are literally people that weak-minded and it happens.
It's funny you say, take a few things out of that. You said radical. Why do you think the media just refuses to acknowledge radical Islam? And then from that, we'll spin off with that. It's like the news pushes, you can tell that they have pushing agendas. It's just, and I feel like they're just, I don't know, brainwashing or conditioning us to think a certain way. And it's like a certain amount, a huge amount of the population is almost, they're just puppets. They're just guiding them into a direction. And I feel like that's the way the country's going towards.
Yeah, so I have no idea why. I don't want to be so cynical as to say that, these people, they hate America. They hate who's
these people?
Like, what you would say, like radical left.
Okay.
The radical left who, they want full open borders, full free healthcare, full free college tuition, full everything, complete welfare state. They would have it. They would have a communist government if they could have it in the United States. Like those kinds of people. I don't want to be so radical myself as to say that they just hate America. They hate our values. They hate everything. It's not, I don't know if it's necessarily that, or if they are, they really believe in the possibility of a utopian society and they want to work in that direction. And
that's what I was about to say. Their ideology, or I can't speak today, their thought process in theory would work.
If everyone would agree to it.
If everything was right and everyone did what they were supposed to do,
exactly,
that would be the perfect way to do it. But that's not the way the world works.
No.
People gyp the system. People manipulate the system. People are lazy.
Yeah.
People want to be handed stuff. Mm-hmm. Life's hard. You have to work.
This was the problem with early settlers, right? Didn't they? What was it? You had the indentured servants who would come over
and work their way for land
and work their way through, and
basically slavery.
What was the first rounds of like the French settlers who came over? I can't remember what they were called, but basically these people would show up and they would just try to employ lots of workers to work for them while they sat around and pretty much did nothing and just reaped like the financial rewards of having these people work over in the then, pre-continental United States. And those people were run off, right? They're like, I don't need you here. I'm going to break away. And then they either went back to the home country in Europe or they just died because they just tried to feed off everybody else working. Yeah.
It's insane. It just feels like it's a big game of Simon Says or like follow the leader. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's in everything. It's in politics. It's in entertainment. It's sports.
It's a Korn album.
Yeah, it's a Korn album.
They did an album on this back in the 90s, Follow the Leader.
What was that about?
I think Follow the Leader had...
is that a political way or is it...
No, it's just the name of the album. I'm just making a joke.
What do you think in the big scheme of things with the social constructs and just everything with media and entertainment? Real entertainment. Like, what do you think about entertainment and how it's changing to fit the society we live in?
So just I think the biggest one right now that's a problem is that you see a lot of entertainment, and you've seen it for a long time, but I think more aggressively than ever that it is shifting around certain ideologies and they want you to consume that ideology through movies and TV. And then you've got offshoots of this stuff where people are just simply like expressing themselves artistically in a way. Mm-hmm. So you got like movements like emo rap.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. So
what's emo rap? So
emo rap is this kind of, it's this, they're pinning it as like a new or a current genre that is like emerging out of a lot of these Lil something rappers that keep popping up.
Mm-hmm.
And
who's an example of emo rap?
you would say somebody like Lil P or
Who's Lil P?
Exactly. Lil Pump, Lil Uzi Vert.
Lil Pump. I saw Lil Pump. I've never heard his song. I just was scrolling through YouTube and saw. He's a light skinned guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So like any of those XXX Tentacion.
Is he Canadian?
I have no idea what
I think
he
he's
is.
Canadian.
He's something. But so you get these guys who are making these emotionally charged lyrics. And their image is kind of, from what I can tell, their image is really like saturated in drug culture.
So it's
like,
not a bunch of pasty white guys.
Not necessarily. Well, actually,
cutting themselves.
Lil P
like
actually
emos?
is though. He actually is.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they have. I'll put it this way: they have kind of goofy haircuts with colors all through it. They have grunge style clothing. So like these guys, like Lil Uzi Vert, for example, he wears
They're like hipster rappers.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got your white hipsters, and then you got your black hipsters who hang out with the white hipsters. They dress a little bit.
But you can yeah, okay.
And I'm not being racist. It's just a thing.
So like, like you can split a hair here. Like, would Post Malone be an emo rap? No. But he does kind of.
He is hip. He is
hip though, right?
But you know what I mean. There's a different type of hipster.
Yeah. So these guys,
almost hippie. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's hipsters and there's hippies. I feel like they kind of fall into that.
There's a blur. Form. There's a blur there between them.
What do you
would
mean?
Say, like, you can see a hipster kind of slowly fading into more of hippie rather than hipster, right? And they're kind of somewhere between until they go full hippie or full hipster.
It's a spectrum,
right? It's a spectrum. Yeah, it's fluid.
Mm-hmm.
But I see stuff like the emo rap, and to me, it's really interesting because I mean, just in general, music is interesting to me. So. You see the kind of art that these guys are putting out. So if you just focus on somebody like, and yes, I'm calling it art, but if you focus on guys like Lil Uzi Vert, you look at his imagery in his music videos. You look at his lyrics. You look, like I said, his haircut, his dress. You see all the people around him who are trying to make the same kind of music, and it's almost like they're kind of jockeying the whole grunge. The whole heavy metal type aesthetic with some of their stuff.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's cool. Like
it's deeper.
It's mashing up these different styles, I guess, or cultures, and into a new type of like art. I guess it's something to call it, and I think it's cool. I think that emo rap itself, though, has kind of existed for a little while already, just not as plainly as we think it's
not
now.
Mainstream.
Right. So you look at guys like Drake. I mean, the dude's emo rap.
Is
right? He? Absolutely. He's not as. I guess there's a threshold there to it where on someone like Lil Uzi Vert, he's talking about slashing wrist or being dead.
Right.
All my friends are dead.
Right.
Okay. People say, I'm not afraid to die. Now, you don't see Drake necessarily pumping out this kind of lyrics, but he is almost saying things like, this girl, where would I be without him? Kendrick Lamar, for his lyrics are very good. I think he writes better music than a lot of them now. Like the actual music itself,
He's almost too lyrically inclined for rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his stuff
too like you're like
his stuff is really poetic though. Whereas like these quote emo rappers, it's just really like
chaos.
It's kind of chaotic, their images. Whereas like Kendrick's is more polished, and he's very smart lyrically, and he can do a lot of different sounds. Right, he doesn't necessarily just have to do any one sound of hip hop. But he's very good at like channeling that Ice Cube style Compton rap, because that's where he's from too.
Right.
So he's really good at channeling that, and he can do the songs like that, or he can do anything else. Like if you look at songs like "Love" off his new album, I love that song, by the way.
Who?
Love.
From who?
From Kendrick's new album. Yeah, like that song's cool. Like, and he can do a lot of different sounds. Whereas these emo rap guys, they are really. I think they're in a box, unfortunately, for them. And they've got to, what will be interesting to see over time is how those guys get out of that box of not just like, how is like EXO tour life again? Let's just go back to Uzi Vert because he's the easiest example. Is that how is he gonna outdo that song now?
Right.
Because you've had even old head hip hop guys like Joe Budden come out and be like, wow, this song is something else. This kind of pushed the genre in a way, and it pushed the aesthetic and the voice of what emo rap is. It kind of pushed it to a new thing. How are they going to top it now? Like, how is he as an artist going to grow from that? And that's what I see with emo rap, is that it might be a short-lived wave, or it could be something really cool that adds a lot of value to the genre. And
right.
I don't know yet.
Well, going off that, where do you think, like, it's safe to say the Republicans lost all entertainment, like all media and just Hollywood. You know what I mean? They don't have any influence, and it's making those, the left hubs, and they just push almost anything you see on the TV and universities. Everything is really one-sided, and people aren't hearing both sides, and that's where all this is coming from, I think, because you watch TV, you think the world's a completely different place than maybe where you live.
Yeah. So are you trying to make it a connection? Do you think that emo rap is a response to?
No, I'm just going off of that with just while we're in entertainment, like Eminem's little cipher at the BET Awards.
It wasn't good, dude.
What wasn't good about it?
Everything? It wasn't good. It just wasn't.
I got a hot coffee pot. I should probably throw it on Trump or something.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, God. And he's like, he almost seemed like going through the motions with it almost. Like it seems so orchestrated to me. I didn't get any, like, I'm a huge Eminem fan for the reference. Okay. I'll have all his Trump? I have all of his albums. Yeah, I do.
But he doesn't like you.
Yeah, I know. That was
like you're what, alien? What's it called? Alienized, or what is my
alienated Eminem fan. A
large group of your people, and like, why would you do that? As a business, as an entertainer, that you are a business, right?
Yeah.
So
why would he do that? I have no idea.
It doesn't make any sense.
It sounded so dumb to me. And, the lyrics weren't good. I'm serious. Like, I mean, I can critique Eminem because I have all of his albums. I'm a fan. So lyrically, it was kind of, and it was corny. And, if you want to rag on something, one thing that I immediately thought of was, okay, you remember when people would rag on like Katy Perry or Miley Cyrus for using black people in their videos? And stuff like that, like, oh, they're just props in their videos. They're appropriating culture
appropriation,
and all that kind of. Yeah, so I remember.
Hoop earrings is now being pulled into.
Fantastic. I watched the Eminem cipher, and if you notice, like, it would pan to like these very like serious shots of
black
the
guys with. But they're Monte Carlos and shit.
Yeah, and they're sitting on the car, and they're just watching him. So it's like, oh yeah, everybody's watching the white guy. I'm just sitting here in the background. Like, you saw nobody breaking out ready to criticize him on that point. They just loved the corny lyrics that he came up with, bashing Trump, and all that's entirely what that whole rant was. He didn't add any. To me, he didn't push the arguments against Trump in any way, positively or negatively. He didn't transcend the argument. He didn't, do anything that was, in my mind, constructive. He just ranted, and it was boring.
And he brought up the stuff everybody knows. He's orange and stuff like that.
Like, it wasn't even fresh jokes.
Right.
Like, if it was fresh, I could have got into it. But even as a fan, I don't really care that he said, if you're a fan of Trump, you're not a fan of me. I don't care. I'm going to listen to him whenever the hell I feel like it. But it was bad. It just was not. I'm sorry. It just wasn't that good.
I think even that goes with what we're talking about, like the follow the leader, Simon Says type deal in society. The media and just entertainment and everything has made it such a priority to push hatred for Trump. Now it's almost, if you're a news source or you're an entertainment like Saturday Night Live, show, it's almost required to bring up hatred or stupidity of Trump.
Right.
And they push all these agendas about how Trump is this, and this, fill in the blanks, to where society kind of takes it as fact. Mm-hmm. So I feel like even though he basically told a large number of his fans, because it's safe to say that, because he's basically was Trump of the rap game. Everyone was calling him, bringing up he was so controversial early in his years, right? Everyone was hating on him. Trump's the same way.
Right.
So it's hard to say that a large number of his people aren't Trump supporters.
Right.
But I think he's like, you know what? In today's world, if I just diss on Trump, I'll become way more popular than just losing, because the media is going to eat it up and it's going to be everywhere. And where was it? Everywhere.
Yeah. And so you got people who can constructively balance it, I guess is the way to describe it.
What do you mean? Balance what?
So, like, for instance, SNL, whether you like them or not, their jokes have been landing very well on the stuff that they've been doing on Trump, because they know how to balance it in a way to where it's just not overbearing, right?
But do you think?
But then you have morons like Kathy Griffith, who picture themselves with a cut off head. I mean, it's just
and
dumb.
Then has the balls to blame it on Trump, saying he ruined her life. Really? Bitch?
Yeah,
really, bitch.
Yeah,
you don't have a publicist or anyone that says that's probably not a good idea,
right?
I understand. Unlike any other president in the world, it's okay to have death threats and talk shit about your president, but that might be a little too far.
Right. Yeah. So she handled it poorly. Like, so there's these people almost, you see it one way or the other. You see them.
Touchdown. Sorry.
Oh, go Bama. Yeah. So like they're not balancing what even their problem to begin with is. And then they're just so I understand why they're doing it. Because if you think about culture and society and art and that role that all these three play together with one another, is that it's really easy to understand and follow something if it's happening in an extreme. Like if you were, so for instance, Kathy Griffith, her extreme was to literally hold a bloody deceased mock head of the president, right? People could very clearly understand her point of view towards the president immediately, True. Right? And she was trying to make like a very political statement, but she flopped on it, right? Because it was too extreme and it was tasteless, right? So if you're going to do an extreme type of commentary, right, then it's got to be tasteful. And that's where you don't see the left, is that they don't know how to be tasteful. You saw, what is a DNC chairman or DNC president, the guy who replaced, what's her name after she stepped down after Hillary Clinton lost?
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about.
After she stepped down and he stepped in, he went on a tour and he started to try to trash talk like Trump did on the campaign trail. Right. But the difference is that one, Trump had done it first. So it was already that shtick had already been taken. And then secondly, it was tasteless because he was just cursing for the sake of cursing to be edgy, and it wasn't working. And it was falling so flat. And the left, they don't know how to do it.
Right. Because that's not them. And then Trump really wasn't trash talking. All Trump was doing was taking political correctness out of the way,
right,
and just saying what everyone wants to hear.
He was being genuine.
That's what I meant.
That's the crux of it, is that the left is not genuine when they're trying to be edgy. They can't do it.
Any politician. One of the only things I like about Trump is that he's giving it to you.
Yeah,
and that's kind of his flaw, but I like it. You have no idea. I don't see why people do that. They love all these politicians, but you don't know what the hell they think.
Right.
They have a pre-rehearsed speech about what their party and whoever they're ups their butt is telling them to push and talk about.
Right.
They're just going out there trying to get votes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, I've seen this 100 times.
Yeah.
And people have not seen a Trump politician 100 times. They've never seen a Trump politician, right?
He's kind of bringing. I saw somewhere where. And it was a good point. They were talking about, I forgot what party it was. One of them was the population. This was a long time ago, early days. There were too politically informed, and they didn't like it because they were wanting to more government, and they didn't like it.
Yeah.
So they kind of made it to where it was boring, because back in the day, because now they got entertainment and stuff, but back in the day, politicians and stuff were almost like rock stars. What happened?
Touchback. Go ahead. Rock stars.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of gotten boring. He's kind of bringing like a reality TV show type atmosphere to the White House, where it's a little entertaining. Like, it's like, what's next? Like,
yeah. But except it's real life.
Right. And the media overreacts so emotionally to everything.
Mm-hmm. They listen to emo rap.
Yeah, no doubt. And I feel like it's pushing some of the left. Like they're getting sick of it.
You think the
a
left is getting sick of it?
Some of them.
They're getting sick of
a
themselves.
lot of them. No, just of them just being over dramatic about everything.
Oh, it's wearing people out. I mean, I'm like, that's why when I said earlier, I haven't watched the news since the Vegas incident. I don't want to watch the news.
I don't watch the news generally.
And that's like my routine. I come home every day after work and I watch the news and eat dinner, and I just can't do it no more.
It's so stupid. Like all they're doing is they don't cover news anymore.
Right.
It's all clickbait bullshit.
Mm-hmm. BuzzFeed
verbally.
Type. Yeah, it's verbal BuzzFeed. Now, you know who really is bad about that? Like, not to just rag on any particular news channel, but like MSNBC and like Rachel Maddow, like those. So on those channels like CNN, MSNBC, they will run like countdowns on the channel. So like for every show for like a couple days, there'll be like some kind of little countdown to a special that they're going to run. And more than once now, these channels have run a little countdown segment like, oh, we got Trump's tax return. We're going to tell you all about it now. And they get to the show. And I remember watching this one where Rachel Maddow literally had to sit down and apologize on national TV because, yeah, we ran the countdown, but yeah, we really didn't have it. And it was, I don't get it, dude. It's so fake.
I remember when they actually got that thing and she was reading it, and I don't know why she hasn't read it before. You can tell that was the first time she read it. It was kind of like the Capone, Al Capone's vault situation.
Oh,
where they were building it up, like, oh, what's going to be, and they opened it and nothing was in there. That was kind of how she was like reading it. She was like, this, he did this, and like, okay. And she was like reading it as like, okay, I'm about to drop some knowledge and prove it's wrong. Okay, this, and this.
And then he donated millions of dollars to charity. What a,
and you can tell
that
her
was
tone
nice.
as she was going down, it was changing. Like, shit, there's nothing on this thing. Like, oh, damn it. Yeah, well, there's a tax return.
There it was. He's clean. Oh, what do you know? And speaking of exaggerated stuff, you saw where our boy from Alabama. Yeah, our boy up there in the White House, Mr. Man, his name is slipping my mind right now. This is so
He's
pathetic.
a Bamer though, right?
Yeah. See, this is why I haven't watched the news in 3 weeks.
I don't even know who you're talking about, so just make up somebody. Just kidding.
Who? God. Yep, you're gonna clip that out.
Yup. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever. Okay, go ahead with him. We don't know his name, but he's there. He's from Alabama, apparently.
He was on trial this week. He had to go and
for what? The governor?
No. Why can't I think of his name?
Don't worry about his name.
Sessions. God, there it is. Sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, he had to go up there and
he's from Alabama?
No, because they were accusing him of having ties to the whole Mueller investigation, and he's been investigating. Like, oh, you had ties. Did you discuss campaign things with the Russians? And he had to go up there again, basically, and say, nope, I really did not.
See, I don't get the Russian thing. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be dealing with Russia, but like when it comes to the election, when they're talking about the election. Russian collusion or whatever. Did I say that right?
Collusion?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All they did was, because Podesta already admitted those emails were real.
Mm-hmm.
All they did was expose those.
Right.
So, like, those are real.
Right. And Don Jr. put them on Twitter and everything like that.
Why is that? What? I'm confused.
Yeah.
It's not like he was like, all right, I want you to spray this potion and brainwash people. Can you do that? To like us.
Right.
I know that's a beautiful example and very realistic, but yeah, it happens. I've seen it.
Yeah, so people compare this to like Watergate because the Democrats know that they have no evidence. They don't have anything to speak to in 11 months. But people say, oh, well, this is just like Watergate. Watergate did that thing ran for 2, 3, 4 years. And it's like, yeah, but within like the first couple months of the investigation, there was like hard evidence to continue the investigation on, and there's been nothing like that.
And everything wasn't web-based.
Right.
They had to go through actual paperwork and shit.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, there's a completely different circumstance.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's so dumb. I think that Huge waste. Imagine that's what we're paying for, guys. Like everyone listening, you're paying for them to go up there and spin their wheels on Russia stories that aren't real. So there you go.
Well, that's the thing. Like if they would just, everything's so separated. Like honestly, I think they're at a point to where they can't afford ratings wise to stop bashing Trump.
Oh yeah. No, they can't.
That's all they talk about.
Yeah.
Every show. I just hate it because you're sick of news, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's everywhere. Jimmy Kimmel. You can't even watch him anymore.
Yeah, he's annoying.
He's like, I hate doing this serious. No, you don't.
And then he just gets up there and cries some more. And it's like, dude, shut up.
You don't hate doing this.
You love it.
Yeah. Because guess what? You're going to get a shit ton of views because there's going to be a lot of people that's going to blow up.
Yeah.
And what'd it do? It blew up.
Is it the death of late night television? Like, Colbert and Kimmel and...
I like Fallon. But he's dealing with that other issue.
What's his other issue?
I think it's him. That rape issue.
Oh, no.
Is that him?
Oh, God.
One of them. Not. I think it's Fallon, though. Or I think it was just he said something in a joke back in the day or something. It's some trigger, maybe a trigger warning bullshit, but I don't know. But yeah, like it's everywhere, even in sports. Like, shut up. It's everywhere. You can't watch sports without them race baiting you or trying to just talk politics. Like, just stop.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys are not equipped mentally to talk about politics, which makes it even sadder because, you can tell that they're joining in. They're just like the dogpiling on the whole issue at hand. So the whole thing with the kneeling and Colin Kaepernick, and then he left the NFL, and now he's mad at the NFL because he thinks it was an inside job to get him out of the NFL.
They think he blackballed him.
Right, and then all the players are joining in on the kneeling thing, and then the president responded poorly to it. Which is
another, like I said, another follow the leader trend. It's almost trendy. Yeah,
that's mindless.
It's mindless, trendy stuff. And like even with like when you watch like protests against Trump, you ask them, why don't you like Trump? And they're like, he's fascist, racist, misogynistic, xenophobic. He's allergic to gluten. Like,
right.
You're literally quoting CNN and other news sources.
Like verbatim.
No one uses those words.
Right, except news corporations.
Right.
Trying to push a narrative.
He's xenophobic. Like, why do you, like, what?
Yeah.
And I can't find evidence for him being racist. I'm not saying he's not racist. I haven't seen it. Like, where did they get the racist thing?
They pull it out of his campaigns. Like
what did he do? I'm confused.
Talking about like, we're going to put up a wall and we're going to block immigrants. And
how's that racist?
Right. I'm not defending it. I'm just telling you that's where they're pulling it from. Is that
there's two things I saw.
They read into what he's saying because he's never
and turn it into fact.
Right. He's not. It's not like he's coming out right out and saying something.
I don't like black people and Mexicans and Jews and Eskimos. And
if he was saying stuff like that, then it would be no contest. But of course he's not. So they read into what he has said and extrapolate what they. Well,
calling all illegal immigrants rapist is. I think that was the one thing that was a little over the line.
He was exaggerating.
Illegal immigration is an issue, but all the Mexicans I have worked with are the hardest working men I've ever worked with.
Yeah, they do work hard, dude.
Like, I respect the hell out of them. But and they say like jobs they no one wants and they work below minimum. No, they don't.
No.
I'm not going to say what company I was working for I was affiliated with. I built fences. Mm-hmm. We would go pick them up. We'd pick up some. And it wasn't said, and I think it was $6 or something. It was minimum wage. We paid them $10 an hour. They worked their ass off.
Yeah, that's right. They work hard.
$10 an hour. That's fair. What do you think of people? No, I'm not going to get on that right now. But no, going to Colin Kaepernick. If I hear one more damn word about Colin Kaepernick, I'm going to drive crazy. Am I the only one who thinks this guy's full of shit?
No,
I'm not going against his. I'm not saying his cause, like of police brutality or whatever. I'm going as him as a person.
Oh, do you think does he really understand what he's talking about?
There's too many things that line up that shows that this guy's just an attention-seeking douchebag.
Right.
He gets benched for Blaine Gabbert. Correct. Then he starts kneeling. Doesn't say anything. the media jumps all over. Oh yeah, because they love a victim. They love it.
Yeah.
So they go and they're, hey, well, why you kneeling there, guy? And he's like, basically, I don't know why he turned into a weird foreigner, but police brutality, blah blah blah. Then he didn't even vote.
Right.
If it's such an issue,
vote.
He didn't even vote. He doesn't go out and try to speak and push his cause. He doesn't do anything.
No.
He only says something when people like, hey, Colin, why do you think this? He's like, well, I realize I was raised in a middle-class white family and I'm a millionaire now, but blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't know. It just bothers me. You don't think the NFL has talked to the 49ers organization? They might know some stuff. They might know he's full of shit.
Well, no. So I think he's one of those guys where, because he's just the loudest, regardless of how dumb he looks, and the lies, or not the lies, but the complete lack of understanding that he's already demonstrated on topics like this. Then it doesn't matter how dumb he looks at this point, that he will stay relevant with this type of topic as long as people continue to talk about it, because they already busted. He went to an interview one time and he was wearing a Fidel Castro t-shirt.
Let's break down the timeline of the shit I'm going to break down why I think he's full of shit. And that's part of it, not fart of it.
Okay.
All right. So where was it? Where did I go? Oh, the organization. All right. So the year ends, he becomes a free agent, right? Teams that showed interest: the Miami Dolphins and the Ravens. And this is after he was wearing pig socks, like dressed like cops. And all right, so when he's in Miami, then that's when the Castro shirt came on. When he had the Castro shirt, which offended the Cuban population, which makes up about 34% of Miami, right? Boom. Then Ravens. When the Ravens were interested, his girlfriend tweeted out comparing the owner of the Raven to a slave owner. Did you know about that one?
I didn't see that.
Boom. Those opportunities are gone. Then, to top it off, during this process, he's comes out saying he's demanding starter money. He wants starter money. He wants primo dollars.
But he's not starter quality.
Right. Okay. So if he really just wants to play, and he really just they're blackballing him, it has nothing to do with his play or his character or whatever. That's a strike against him. Then Canadian Football League came out, turned it down. If you really wanted to play, why not? Prove that you can move a team. Prove you can lead a team. Prove you won't be a distraction. Prove you're a good teammate. If you want to just prove it's not your character and you're just being blackballed, then prove it. You haven't done shit.
Right.
The media does all your talking for you.
Mm-hmm. I just think that he's going to end up being a political personality going forward. I don't see him playing in these sports. I see him completely getting out of it. I see him joining some kind of either political think tank or organization. Or whatever.
I don't think he's politically involved at all. I really don't. I think he was pouting and he was sulking, and he wanted to be in the center light. Maybe that it wouldn't be turned to the way it did. I think the whole kneeling for the I don't get it on how it ties to anything to do with police brutality. But look, ever since Harbaugh left, he's done nothing.
Right.
The only reason he was good is because Harbaugh was there.
Mm-hmm.
End of story.
He's not good.
No. And that's all sports is. And you watch media and you think this is like a huge deal, and it's like, America's catching on to it and it's like a good thing and all this stuff, but their numbers are dropping. People are sick of it. People don't like it.
Right. I saw a really good explanation. I want to say it was a guy who does he work at Fox Sports 1?
Who?
Or something like that. It was one of the guys who I saw responding to this topic. I can't remember him.
White guy, black guy?
White guy.
Okay.
But he said, the reason that this is failing so hard and face planting is that everyone for the longest time knew that sports was, quote, like the cookie jar of life, that everybody knew that regardless of everything swirling around them, their crappy job, crappy work environment, crappy life, crappy politics.
That was their escapism.
Escapism in sports. Sports were fun, and you didn't have to worry about any of that stuff in the sports. You could just disconnect and turn off your brain and watch some sports. And now it's in sports. So everyone hates that too.
Like, it drives me crazy. I love Bill Burr. He's talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's funny. He was his bit was about his was even about breast cancer awareness. And he was like, look, it's not like me going to the movies and pausing it and be like, hey, did I ever tell you I had cancer? And it was funny.
One way to bring it in.
Yeah, it's not as funny as him. But yeah, like, I don't know. They just literally just pull stories about race and just all this stuff. And I'm
talking about like the players, or just you talking about the ESPN?
ESPN.
Oh. And
then the players go off of it because everyone just follows the leader. They want to have the next headline.
Yeah.
And it goes, and it just, I don't know. Like, it's social justice warriors, and they drive me crazy. I want to talk about social justice warriors.
Okay, you talking about like the parody type that you see in all the YouTube compilations, or are you talking about like legitimate people who are crusading for a cause? Or
all of them.
Okay,
everyone playing victimhood. We're professional victims.
Okay, yeah.
Some of them have a case, like the myth of the gender wage gap doesn't exist.
Okay.
You know how they came up with for every dollar they get 77 cents? Women get 77. Every dollar a man makes, a woman gets 77 cents.
Where'd they get that?
They didn't do hours work. They didn't do profession. They didn't do education. They didn't do, like I said, total hours worked and stuff like that. All they did was do full-time employees, added up their salaries on both genders, male and female, and then divided them for 77 cents. That's all they did. And then they pushed it out. See, 77 cents. You know what the actual gender page gap is?
What?
It's like 6.6%. Or 6.6 cents.
That's it?
So for every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 94 cents. Or 90.
And then considering that women, like if you just look at like a business that's, circles around sales, you might see a lot of women doing like administrative type work.
Mm-hmm.
That might be hourly, or it might be work like, I don't know. I'm sure there's other ones. There's a lot of administrators at where I work, and they're all like women, and they're very good at what they do.
Well,
and
think about
like,
it.
That's the kind of work.
If that was true, right? Correct. 77 cents for every dollar. Why would they hire men?
True.
Payroll.
Just pay women instead.
Yeah, payroll is
cheaper.
A huge percentage of companies' expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's because women are more likely to take time off.
Families.
To hang out with families. But they came up with an argument for that too. And they said that's due to imaginary like gender, what's the word?
Gender roles.
Gender roles. But it's not. It's just, it's biology. It's like biology. Is it biology? It's just natural. A mother's instinct almost.
Well, they could be a mother and identify as a man, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just write it all off like that anymore. This is complicated, can't you see?
I can't keep up with all the terminology, man. There's 77,642 genders. There's
exactly
a new movement like period shaming. Your heteronormativity or tistic homonormal
heteronormative.
But they added an istic or tist.
Oh, did they?
Relationship is offending me.
Oh.
Stuff like, dude, just shut the hell up. Like, is life really that bad?
Life is so complicated, Josh.
Like, gay marriage, by all means. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like that should be ran federally. I think that should be state by state.
What is the rule today for like traditional marriage?
I don't know.
Whatever the traditional definition of marriage is today, how is it run?
Oh, they changed the definition of marriage.
Oh, of course.
But, no, seriously, they changed the definition of man.
Yes, compel me.
Marriage was defined, a man and a woman become one, basically. Now it's two people are in love.
Two people are in love.
I'm in love.
Girl, I'm in love with you.
No, I have no problem with homosexuality. Like I said earlier, the only thing I don't agree with is and don't like is them saying they were born that way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it. I'm not like it's. You can't prove it scientifically, so don't even. I'm facts, analytical. That's how I don't like feelings running the world, and it's starting to get that way.
Wait, hold on. So if you're born gay, but you're born...
I'm confused. Where you go? You're born gay.
It doesn't make sense. I feel like if everything is so fluid and stuff and whatever, that everything's on a spectrum, like how can you be born any one way then? Is it they have it both ways? I mean, you can be born gay and not born gay, but choose to be gay?
We're all plants, man.
We're all computers.
Computers are plants. No, it's everything that makes you what you are as a human. Not like your makeup, but like your personality, your thought process, how you handle things is the experiences and what you've learned.
It's your circumstances.
As you get in your circumstance, as you grow up. Mm-hmm. Like anything. That's why parenting is so important. That's why they think the main cause for the inner city violence and unemployment and high school dropouts is due to lack of father figures. I forgot the percentage. It's huge.
Talking about single mothers in
inner city.
Yeah,
it's a big part of it, and I don't know. And then when you get into transgender, they're making that huge movement, and that is the icing on the cake. The biggest thing that they're overstepping their boundary on for a cause that I think personally that they're normalizing a mental disorder, and it. Maybe I saw this article. I wanted to get the most liberal article I could find to find the biggest percentage of population. It was like 0.3% of the population is transgender.
0.3?
Yeah. But it's probably way lower than that.
Right.
I don't get it, man. They say you're not. Okay, the genitals don't define my gender. Right. But as we know, through the times... That's the number one and only thing that defines your gender. Am I right? Canada is almost at a point to where it's almost illegal for a parent to declare the baby's gender at birth. Like, they're more liberal than we are at this situation.
That's insanity. So, the way that I've always thought about it is that it's very simple to me is, what does your DNA show?
You going Ben Shapiro?
No, not necessarily.
The only female thing in them is some of his sperm cells. Talking about a transgender woman.
I mean, that I was gonna say. Do you have XX or XY? End story.
It's so black and white. They're trying to muddy the water with all this stupid bullshit. What do you think about Bill Nye?
Bill Nye gets on my nerves.
Bill Nye, the not science guy.
Yeah,
he's a mechanical engineer. I don't know. But, okay. He's such a sellout now. Have you seen his show?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's not even a good show.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, if he was coming up with some goofy, cool stuff, then okay.
No, but he's just not. Going off the political,
Yeah, it's not even entertaining.
Have you seen the transgender episode, which completely is opposite of what his previous
science show did.
Back in the day.
I saw.
This one, he put it, it's the growing science of feelings.
The science.
That's a freaking thing. He said that. Basically said we can't prove it scientifically, but he feels that way. So, and he did. This was the example of the existence of this science of feelings. It was comparing vanilla ice cream as the social norm. And of you being what you were, like, you just being what you are.
I saw that. And all the other ice creams.
And but I can't be vanilla because I'm strawberry. And it's like, you just need to be what you are, blah, blah. That was their their scientific example.
Of course, ice cream flavors that are constructed by humans.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know. Like they make it seem like this is like a huge epidemic happening all over the world and it's affecting so many people. The only thing it's affecting is the people that aren't transgender.
Right. I don't know why it's so weird. Why this is like such a difficult.
There's a new thing that they're trying to push every week, it seems.
Yeah.
It's been like that for years.
It's boring to me. That conversation.
It's boring.
It is. To me, it's boring. I just
ran
don't care
out.
about it.
Like, but don't you feel like they've overstepped?
Yeah.
Trying to tell me which bathroom and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's weird. No, I'll give you another example of this that I saw the other day that New York Public, there's some kind of, it's up in New York, but basically they've created this drag queen reading hour where like
I've seen that.
Drag queens
I watched that last night actually.
Okay, they'll go to, so for everybody on listening, it's
not it's literally your stereotypical like 80s drag. It's not, okay, that looks like a woman. I could have been fooled. No, this is like almost a clown looking.
Right.
We're talking about your stereotypical
They look
old
like a peacock. They look like a peacock, right? They have all the goofy colors and their hair's all done up or whatever, and they're wearing very flamboyant clothing. And basically men will dress in this way and then go read to children and then challenge a child's expectations and understanding
and
of
that's where that pisses me off.
Right. So why... Like, no, so they dressed it up as a thing where like, oh no, we just show them different culture by reading to them for a couple minutes. That's not really what's happening. They're bringing these children in.
They're conditioning them to think that way. Well,
that they're reading stories to them that are confusing, right? So they'll read a confusing story about children, right? So that, they read a story about children to children in this hypothetical world where they're playing a game. And one of the different children all start saying different things like, I want to dress like this. I want to do this.
Right.
I want to be like this. I feel like
thinking
this.
That's the norm.
Right. And these kids are 3, 4, 5 years old and they're being read to like this. And how do you expect them to respond?
That should be illegal.
It's disgusting to me. How can you challenge a child like that? That's disgusting. I don't understand it.
I don't care what improvement and steps you take. Homosexuality and transgender is never going to be the same. It's not. And like, I'm nothing against any of them, but just, it's not going to be it's not going to be equivalent to a straight marriage. It's just not. It's not even bringing science into it, because science just hook, line, and sinker. I'm done. If everyone in the world was homosexual and gay, the world would cease to exist. Am I wrong?
Right. Yes. No, you're not wrong. I was saying, but yes, you're correct.
Right? It's science. A square thing can't go into a circle hole. It just it just don't fit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, going back to, I mean, you could kind of set up another way that, would a church let an atheist walk in and read Richard Dawkins to their children in Sunday school? No. So why would a public library allow drag queens to come in and challenge a child's traditional understanding of what reality is at 3, 4, 5 years old? It's so offensive. That itself, like the idea that they think that is okay, that they think, because I feel
normal, like that's putting
that's
just them putting it out there as much as they have, and as mainstream and as much as they cover it as they have. I feel like that is directly responsible for a lot of the people switching, because I don't know the word for it. It's almost like a trendy thing to do. Like, it's
pretentious is what it is. Right.
And they kind of do it because they feel like that's just what I feel a little different. So I'd get so much praise if I just did this.
It's pretentious
and claim to be something.
Right.
Do you see that one? Now this proves the mental state of this. This person was gender fluid and would switch genders due to his mental state, or he or she, I don't remember.
Like day to day?
No, like in a conversation, and would claim, like, when it gets, if it's anxious, I just called it. I called him.
You called it it.
Sorry, I didn't know because it's confusing. It's a he and a she. So I think that it's safe to call it it, right?
Okay.
Well, it was like go and it'd be like stop and be like I'm what's when you're claiming to be something? I'm oh shit. When it comes to being genders, what do you identifying as a woman now? And then we'd go. And then something in the middle of the interview would be like, I'm identifying as, and he would talk about the male name. I identify as this person.
I'm Steven now.
It's basically like Split. Have you seen the movie Split?
No. I've
For the guy from it's so,
it's the
so
M. Night
good.
Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
I saw the previews for it. I know what you're talking about. He had split personalities.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it's kind of the same thing. And it's like, it's so imaginary to me. Because, I mean, I saw a really good response to this is that if that's the case, if you can just suddenly change your gender on the fly, then you can change anything on the fly. I'm a black person now.
That doesn't work, though.
No, I'm a black person.
That's the key. Why can't... My favorite one is why can't you be 64 years old?
I'm 64 years old right now.
You can't do that. Why?
Yeah, I can.
Why can't you be 64 years old?
You can't tell me what I
identify.
identify
You can't change your
as.
age. And then they start making your argument for you. I've seen an interview or debate of a guy doing that.
Right.
And then they just try to come because a lot of the people, a lot of the social justice warriors, when they try to debate, quote unquote, debate you or prove a point or argue, they don't know and they don't believe what they're saying. They're just trying not to lose an argument.
Right.
They're just you put them against the fence with stats and hard proof, and they just start quoting CNN, quoting things they heard, and then they just call you racist or
you don't understand
a white supremacist.
You're not sensitive to the cause, Josh.
And I just why do they do that? Well, they say they're free speech. They support free speech, but they don't want to hear anything.
Yeah,
so they feel like if you question they're
not necessarily concerned about free speech. They're more concerned about free college and a free house and a free car and a free cell phone and free food and free healthcare and free everything else but speech.
Yeah, I really want to. I wish, because like I said, if you watch the news, you'd think it's a huge epidemic. But I wish we had like a social around here where I could go. So I really want to do a social experiment and wear like a Hillary shirt or Bernie shirt. Bernie would probably be better. A Bernie shirt into a Trump crowd and a Trump shirt to a social justice warrior crowd. Mm-hmm. See the reaction. I'm not gonna be like Owen Schroeder from InfoWars and like provoke them, right? And then wonder why they're being assholes. Like, tell me one reason Trump is racist. Tell me why Trump's a bad president. Nothing. You don't know one thing. And they're like, and they name something. He's like, nope. This, and this, and this. Which I think's over the line. You know what I mean? Not everybody has to be a political professional. They might just think the dude's an asshole. They don't want to vote for him. Right. That's
their
opinion.
Legitimate. If they want to feel that way, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Not everyone's political. That kind of goes to what I told you about, where they made politics boring.
Right. I agree.
And with this presidency, like how many more people are politically informed? Not because of mainstream media, but have kind of looked into things because of Trump and all the drama.
I agree.
It's huge. But I think we need to change.
Huge. It's huge.
It's huge.
Believe me.
It's huge.
Everyone is talking about it. Believe me.
Look, we'll close this up with this.
Okay. Alabama just scored.
I see that. The way I look at things, if we really want to grow as a country and improve and really see the improvement, we can't be an either or society. You can't draw a line in the sand and say, okay, you do this and I do this. It's counterproductive. It doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like politics today, Republicans do this because it's the polar opposite of the Democrats. And the Democrats do this because it's polar opposite of Republicans. And it's counterproductive.
Right.
If you're going to continue to pass and do things just despite the other party, and then the other party does the same thing, we're not growing. Why can't we just have an agreement?
Why can't we be more diverse? First off, let me ask that. Why can't we be more politically?
Why can't we have a party that is 50-50 split Democrat Republican, and you come to an agreement on things that better the people? That's what this. Okay, let's work together and find out what's best. Mm-hmm. Not okay. This is what fits our party. Let's try to get this sucker passed. Let's go make some deals in Congress and Senate, and let's do this.
Yeah, that's why I like
That's how politics work.
That's how the Republicans just did it right now, and it was so crummy. I mean, even as
they have shit the bed in this healthcare.
They suck, bro. Republicans. How many times did I say back before on previous episodes? They do not know how to wield power.
No,
they are terrible power wielders, and I just it's gross. I don't really like the Republican Party. So
I don't.
There you go.
I say we need to change, but we're at a point to where, like, what the hell are we going to do? I don't know if we can clean slate, because you got all these lifetime Senate and Congress members. That's where the corruption is,
Term limits, man. Just need term limits.
But then we wouldn't get anything done, because you got to have influence. But then the influence turns into corruption. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so what?
That's the key. That's the
corruption. Do you want your cake, or do you want to eat it?
Congressmen pass regulations in certain areas that make something legal for a company that's in his wallet. And, House of Cards, that didn't come from nowhere.
Right.
You think that's 100% false?
Man,
I doubt politicians are pushing women into buses.
This show is so smart. I love that show. It's so good. It is good.
I bet you
TV.
$1,000 that's how politics you ran.
Yeah.
$1,001, actually. I don't know. But yeah, guys, look, don't take things the way they are.
Challenge them.
Hey, go buy this. This is a thing that believe nothing and question everything.
Have your opinion, own it, believe in it, support it. Don't be blind.
Research.
Don't
take things the way they are. Know who runs the news. Know what party and what thing they're trying to push. I've actually made it a goal in the past few weeks. When I would hear news, because the news, both sides of news are going to cover vaguely about the same stuff, and they both pull statistics. But looking at the statistics, you're like, well, this is two different things, because they both pull statistics that help their argument. Go look at those statistics. Make an assessment for yourself. Like, you make the decision. Don't take things the way they are. So yeah, guys, believe nothing, question everything. Also, guys, if you like what you heard, please go to iTunes, rate and subscribe. You can also find us on almostlegalpodcast.com. Go to YouTube. I haven't really been active on there here of late due to some technical issues in the studio, but just search Almost Legal Podcast. Social media, interact with us. If you want to do want to come on the show or want to provide content for the show, just email me at almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com, or social media, Facebook, Instagram. Just search Almost Legal Podcast, or Twitter. It's at ALP Show 17. Until then, guys, I'll see y'all next week. Thanks, Jared, for coming on the show.
Yeah, man, no problem. Peace.
I think I lost. DJ Bob.
Baby, do me a favor, pass me that shit over there.
G Millie. We got a lot coming. It's a sample. I'm telling you, this is a sample.
Just be sure to subscribe. And if you have a question or request for content on the show, contact Almost Legal Podcast on Twitter or email almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com.